everyone, and I just want you to think about how you're sitting for a moment and make sure that you feel comfortable, you know, that your shoulders are over your hips so that you can breathe fully, that there's not discomfort in your hips, your knees, or your ankles if you're sitting cross-legged. And then settling into your seat and noticing how your body feels and where your mind is at as you start to focus on the breath. And thinking about how you want to feel when we're done with practice today, so setting your intention. And then we're going to begin. Whenever you're ready, we're going to take the hands and just place them on your legs and start to make little circles with your body. What I want you to look at as you're doing that is, you know, some of you mentioned your back, your low back. Like, do you feel that stretching around the pelvis as you're moving? And we're going to pause and go in the other direction. And then once you have enough information coming to a stop, we're just going to take your arms out in front. And as you inhale, you're just going to take your arms up and you're exploring what feels good as you're moving those arms up and down. Inhale up, exhale down. Now the next time we inhale up, we're going to take one arm behind us and one arm in front, and then inhale back up and do the second side. And you're just kind of noticing as you're moving, definitely a strap and tennis balls. Okay. If you want, get it. So as you're doing this, you're noticing how the shoulders feel, and if it doesn't feel good having your arms extended, you can bend them, and you can also keep your hands on your shoulders. You can have them lower, you know, so it really is an exploration. You're noticing the shoulders, the neck, your torso. Now, next time you finish that second side, we'll just exhale the hands down to the center. And we're going to do a little bit with the tennis balls on the legs. And so go ahead and grab your tennis balls. And even though nobody mentioned these, we're going to start under the calves. And so your calves are these two big muscles that kind of connect in the center. We're going to place them right in the center of your calves. And then see if you can let your legs be heavy and your heels come to the ground. And then we're going to point and flex. Remember, it's not supposed to hurt, right? So if you're like, you can, it's okay to like massage with your hands. And so you can pedal your feet, you can roll them out to the side, you can move front to back. And then you might just even breathe and let them settle in. You're going to explore and see what works for you. When you're ready, you're going to move your body back and let the tennis balls move down towards your heels a little bit. And again, you might move, I'm realizing mine are a little tender as I'm doing this. And you might move or not move, right? You're just exploring and learning. And then go down as far or as close to the heels as you want to. And you might find a spot that feels like you don't want to leave it, and that's okay to stay there. But no matter what, you're going to make sure you keep breathing. Now, when you feel like you're done with the tennis balls, you're just going to, you can bend one or both knees. We're just going to go up from the ankle towards the knee and try to get all of the leg, the front, the sides, and the back. And we're going to do the second one. It's like a lineup. All right. Now, again, you might keep doing any of the things that we're doing. What we're going to do around the knees is just make circles around your knees. And then we're going to cup the fingers. So your hamstrings are these four narrow muscles that go up the back of your legs. We're going to kind of try to imagine that you're trying to separate them, even though you can't necessarily see or feel them. But they tend to work as a group, and sometimes over time they start to cling together. So thinking about activating them so that they can all work and not just work as one. And you can go as close to your pelvis as it feels comfortable. And the one place we don't want to put any pressure with our hands or the tennis balls is the back of the knee, because your blood vessels are really superficial there, so you don't want to put a whole lot of pressure behind the knee. But back of the thigh is fair game. And then we're going to do the second side. And you're just kind of noticing what you notice. Now when, good morning.
I'm just landed in the lobby.
Oh, are you okay?
Mostly I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, yeah. Now, whenever you feel done with that, you're going to either use your fists, the heels of your hands, or even the tennis balls, and we're going to go from the knee up to the pelvis, doing the quads, the front of your thigh. And you can add the sides in a little bit. Some people like to do the little punchy thing, you know, but just kind of see what feels good. And you're going to do both sides. Well, and even if you just don't. Seriously. Did you do the second side yet? Thanks. All right. So if you finish both sides, we're going to take those tennis balls and you're going to bend your knees. Most of you know this. You're going to keep your butt on the ground and put the tennis balls in front of your pelvis. And then straighten your legs out a little bit. We're going to go side to side or front to back, whatever feels good. And sometimes I do use the tennis balls down the back of the legs. So if you wanted to explore that, you can do that as well. Now, you can move the tennis balls out a little bit and keep doing this, or you can take one tennis ball and go right in the center of your glute. I like to come down onto my elbow and use my foot and my elbow to control the amount of weight. And remember that, like, it is truly an exploration, so you might be doing something differently than your neighbor, and that's totally okay. Now, if, and only if it sounds desirable to you, we're going to take the tennis ball down the outside line of the leg, the IT band, which is not necessarily there's not a graceful way to do this that I've found. So I come onto my side and let the weight of my leg go into the tennis ball. And for those of you wondering, we are going to do yoga moves eventually. But this seemed to be something we needed to do today after watching you all. Maybe because it's so cold outside. Because our muscles do kind of tighten up with that. Right? Now, whenever, and you can continue to explore that side, I'm going to move to the second side. And again, doing the glute, and then maybe down the outside of the leg. And I think, at least for me, I always get a lot of information when I do this, like, oh, I didn't know that was tight today. Now, again, you're going to keep doing whatever you're doing. The last thing I want to do with the tennis balls down here is the low back. So if you're choosing to do this, you're going to sit up and place the tennis balls behind your pelvis. Good morning. And then allow yourself to lean back into the tennis balls. And some people come down onto their elbows, some people might even lay down, and moving side to side or front to back. And you decide, how far up or down your back you want to be. Now, again, we could do an entire class on this, but I'm going to move on, and if you're ready to move on, you can move on with me. We're going to reach for your left leg, and then flex that left foot, hold on to the foot and the knee, and start to move side to side. So just kind of checking out how your hip flexors are feeling today, and you might even feel sensation in your butt or your low back. And then we're going to point the foot forward, and however you can comfortably hold on to your leg, and I just want you to go front to back, right? Now, eventually, we're going to stop that movement. You're going to hold on to your thigh, your calf, your foot, and we're going to bend and straighten that leg. So you just do whatever you need to do. And then we'll take that leg to the ground and move on to the right one. So again, keeping the foot flexed and just starting to move side to side, gathering more and more information. And eventually pointing your foot forward and moving front to back. And then holding on to your leg or your foot and starting to bend and straighten. All right. Now from here, whenever you're done with that, we're going to take the bottoms of the feet together far away from your groin so that we have a nice big diamond. And then hands are either going to slide down the top of your ankles or underneath. You will inhale up and exhale, come forward. And this allows the back an opportunity to stretch. So just kind of noticing how your back body feels. Taking a few breaths, making sure you can still breathe fully. And then again, whenever you're ready on an inhale, we're going to slide on up and bring our feet flat on the ground, bringing them closer to the body, and then supporting yourself however is comfortable with your hands. We're going to inhale, center, and then exhale, take your knees towards the ground. So no rush, it doesn't matter how far down the knees come. Just breathing and moving and noticing. Now, from here, and I like to use a blanket under my knees, we're going to move to our hands and knees. So if you're on a hard surface, you might like to have a blanket as well. And I like to use blocks in the front, but some of you might place your hands on the ground. And we'll start kind of in the tabletop, but we're gonna step the right foot forward so that your knee is over your ankle. So you're in a modified lunge with your knee on the ground. We're just gonna, and you wanna make sure that that back knee is behind your hip. So if it's directly under my hip, I get no stretch. That might not be true for everybody, but we're gonna move that knee behind your hip. And just taking a couple breaths, of course, noticing how you're feeling. And then with your breath and your own pace, we're gonna straighten that front leg and bend it. And just moving with your breath. And just kind of noticing, and if you find a spot that you want to stay in, just like with the tennis balls and everything else that we do, you're going to do that. Now, next time we come forward, let's keep the foot that's back. You're going to keep that hand on the ground and take the other hand onto your thigh. Nice, long, gentle twist towards the inner thigh. Keep breathing. And when you start to feel complete, we're going to exhale, turn back towards the ground, and then we'll step that right foot back and take the left foot forward. I wasn't sure if I had said which leg, but now that I look at you all, I think I did. So again, we're starting with the front knee over the ankle, back knee behind the hip, and just breathing, noticing what you feel. And whenever you are ready to start moving front to back, you're going to add that in. Moving with your breath. Now next time you come forward, or whenever you're ready, keeping that right hand on the ground, left hand on your thigh, body long, as you gently twist towards the inner thigh. And exhale, whenever you're ready, turning back towards the ground. We're going to take that back knee off of the ground and then step your back foot forward. Bringing the hands onto your thighs. We're just going to inhale halfway up and then exhale in towards a full forward bend, whatever that looks like for you today. Inhaling halfway up, exhaling. And then one of these inhales, we're going to inhale and come on all the way up. And then find a tennis ball. And go on our feet for just a moment. Trying to get all the parts of your foot, the heels, the arches, toes, padded part under the toes. And whenever you're ready, I shouldn't say that because I could stay here for an hour, but we're going to switch to the second foot. And I want you to think about, so in yoga we use our hands and feet differently than most of us do in everyday life. And so thinking about, when we're standing, how we're connecting our feet to the floor, if our hands are on the ground, how we're using them, so that we're using all of our foot, not just the weight on the toes or the heels. So I want you to find a comfortable stance, feet about hip width apart. We're gonna take the big toes down, little toes up. I'm using my hands so that you can look at you might not be able to see my feet down on the ground, but it actually helps the connection, so if you want to do the hands too. Then we're gonna take little toes down, big toes up. And you're just gonna kind of alternate, big toes down, little toes up, little toes down, big toes up. And then one of these times when the big toes are down, we're gonna think about the possibility of taking your little toes, the pinky toes, towards the ground and keeping the 3 up in the middle. Ooh. And try to hold our balance, right? Not our breath, you're gonna keep breathing. And then let the feet go. And then let's make our way towards the front of our mat. Hands at your heart center, and just take a moment to focus on your breath. And I want you to think about the possibility of moving through the whole flow that we're going to do with your breath. So if you need to go slower or faster, you're going to do that. Okay? So on an inhale, we're going to take the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, we're going to come into a forward bend. Taking your hands onto your legs, inhale halfway up. Exhale in towards your legs. Next inhale, let's step back with the right foot into a nice deep lunge. And I want you to isometrically pull your legs towards one another and maybe bring your hands up onto your thighs or up towards the sky. So you're finding that place that feels comfortable. Now on an exhale, whenever you're ready, you're going to take your hands to the ground and you're going to take your front foot up towards the sky into a 3-legged down dog. And then possibly you're going to bend that knee and take the foot behind your back body, opening up that hip a little bit. And then whenever you're ready, extending the leg, closing your hip, bringing that foot down to the ground. And we're going to inhale either into a plank or an up dog and exhale back. You could also do tabletop and child's pose here. Inhale forward, exhale back, and you can alternate between plank and up dog, or you can do both of them on that one breath. Now next time, come back into your down dog. Let's take that right leg and reach it up. And again, opening up the hip, bending the knee, taking it behind your back body.
Are we supposed to be doing second side or same side?
Second side.
Oh. That's lovely.
Did I say the wrong foot?
I did lovely.
It's very possible. So yes, you're on your second leg now. We're going to close that hip, extend the leg, and then sweep it forward into your lunge. You might need to give it a little hand up, isometrically pulling in towards the center, hands onto your thigh or up towards the sky. Long, smooth breaths. Now, this time when we exhale, let's take the hands to the ground and step that back foot forward. And then inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, hands to the heart center. And just take a moment to connect with your breath and your heart. Notice your body temperature. And what do you think? I think we should do that one more time. So let's inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale into your forward bend. Hands come on to your legs. Inhale halfway up and exhale in towards your legs. And let's step back with the left foot into our lunge, isometrically pulling the feet towards one another, hands onto your thigh or up towards the sky. And again, whenever you're ready, hands to the ground and the front foot up towards the sky, 3-legged down dog. And again, if you want to open the hip and bend the knee behind your back body, go ahead and do that. And then we'll extend, close the hip, take that foot down to the ground. Inhale forward into your plank or up dog. And again, you can do this on your hands and knees. Coming forward and back. You choose what works for your body today. And then next time you're in your down dog, we're going to take the second side. Reach it up towards the sky, so our three-legged down dog, open the hip, bend the knee, take it behind the back body. Whenever you feel ready, straightening the leg, closing the hip, sweeping that foot forward. And again, isometrically pulling those legs towards the center as your hands come to the thigh or up towards the sky. Long, smooth breaths. And again, with your exhale, we're going to come into a forward bend. So hands to the ground or the blocks, back foot forward. This time, instead of coming all the way up, we're going to inhale halfway up, exhale as closely to your legs as your body wants to go. And just do that a couple times. Inhale, half forward bend. Exhale, in towards your legs. And then from here, whenever you're ready on an inhale, let's come all the way up. And exhale, raise hands to the heart center. And then let's find our strap. And what I want you to do with your strap, I know they're different lengths. We're going to have the strap in front of us and our arms stretched out as far as they go, so you might need to be aware of your neighbors. And then, and just kind of notice how you hold the strap. And if you hit into the walls, inhale is going to be neutral, and exhale, we're going to twist. You're going to keep your vision in your body pointing forward so that you're just moving through the arms and the shoulders. Moving with your breath, no rush. And next time you complete your second side, and you come back to neutral, we're going to pause for a second and roll through your shoulders. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, let them slide down your back. And then we're going to take that strap, and if you have a super long one like I do today, you might fold it in half. We're going to bring it behind our back body, about shoulder distance apart. Inhale, arms up, exhale down. Just kind of noticing how that feels to make that movement in your arms. It's not about momentum, right? It's about using our muscles to lift the arms away from our body. And next time that the strap comes to your low back, we're going to inhale, body up, exhale into your forward bend, and then inhale, take those arms away from the back body. Long, smooth breaths. And then you might explore moving your arms from side to side, only if that feels good. Eventually stopping in the middle, exhaling, hands down to the low back, press down with your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Just make sure you're not dizzy. And then we're going to take our strap into the right hand and bring it behind the back body so your elbows bent. And then we're going to walk, you're going to find that strap, and you're going to walk your left hand up. Now from here, I want you to keep your right elbow up, right? That's the one that's up. Having difficulty with left and right today. You're going to keep the right foot forward and take about a meter step back with your feet still hip width apart. So you're gently pulling on the strap, not so much that it causes discomfort. Isometrically, you're pulling your legs towards one another, hips and shoulders pointing forward, and then we're gonna inhale up and exhale, come forward, but not so far that you drop your elbow down, right? You're only going to come forward as much as you can keep that elbow where it is on its initial position. So inhale's gonna be up, exhale's gonna be coming forward. So even though you might be able to come all the way down towards your leg, I don't necessarily want you to unless your arm stays where it is as you're moving. Now next time you come up, we're going to release the straps and step the feet together. And then take your strap in your left hand, reach that arm up, bend an elbow. Find the straps that are holding on to the other hand. And then in your own time, whenever you're ready, stepping back with that left foot, isometrically pulling your feet towards one another. And then whenever you're ready with your breath, inhale, body up, exhale, start to come forward. I'm going to do one more. And again, whenever you come up, we're going to release the strap, step your feet together. Carefully place that strap on the ground. We're going to roll through our shoulders for just a moment. And I want you to go a couple times in each direction. A couple times forward, a couple times back. And then I thought we might do some Garudasana, eagle pose today, because it feels like it's been a little while. I could be wrong. So we're going to make like cacti. And then one option is to put your elbows, forearms, and palms together and lift them up off your chest. Right? Another option would be to take your right elbow to center, left elbow over top, possibly backs of the hands or palms towards one another, but you're going to keep them off of your chest. We're not dropping down. And just take a couple breaths into your upper back body here. And I know some of you might like to do this in one smooth, getting into the pose position, right? But I like to give our upper body a chance to get used to it. And then we're going to settle into a little seat. So bending your ankles, knees, and hips. Making sure that your core is engaged to help hold you here. And then we're going to take that right foot and cross it over top. Now you could, and you want to make sure that your standing leg is still bent, right? So both of our legs are bent here. You can have that foot on the floor, lifted or wrapped around your calf. Keep breathing. On an inhale, whenever you're done, we're going to extend our limbs. And I want you to think about this. We're like taking our energy, and it's all building, building, building while we're holding. And then when you inhale, you're releasing it out through your limbs. I don't know why I'm in such teaching mode today, so but it's happening. All right, we're going to do the second side. Any questions? Is that okay? Like cacti, remember the option in the center, or you're going to take left elbow to center, right elbow over top, backs of the hands or palms together, lift those elbows up. Keep breathing. Notice what's happening in your whole upper body as you're here. And then whenever you're ready, sitting down into that chair position. Core is working to help hold us here. And then we're going to take that left leg over top, both knees still bent, foot on the ground, lifted or wrapped around your calf. Breathe and focus. And for some of us, it's a little bit harder with our hands in front of our face to find a non-moving spot on the floor to look at, but you can look just to the side. And then on an inhale, whenever you're ready, let it go. Shake it off. That's the real yoga part. Yeah, okay. All right, so let's make our way towards the front of your mats. Most of you are there already. And here, and you might want to have a block to the outside of your right foot. So we're going to start with our hands at our heart center and the weight in your right foot. And we're going to lift that left leg up off the ground. And I want you to think about your head, body, and lifted leg all as one, as if they couldn't bend, right? And just kind of play with this idea. And so weights in the right foot, left leg is lifted. You're going to inhale here. And as you exhale, you're going to let that leg guide your body towards the floor. And then whenever you're ready, you're going to inhale back up. And we're just going to do that a couple of times. You're just exploring, keeping, doesn't matter how far down you come. I just want you to explore keeping yourself as one line as you move. And you're still breathing. Now, next time your left foot comes to the ground, we're going to release our hands, take them onto the thighs, inhale, body up, exhale, slide down. And you might stay here, you might hold on to your elbows and gently move side to side, paying close attention to how that low back feels right now, because that can be a back intensive pose. We're going to release the elbows, inhale, slide all the way up. And then we're going to bring the hands back to the heart center, take the weight into the left foot, lift your right foot off the ground, inhale here. And again, thinking about that line as you exhale and start to let the leg guide your body forward. And if you happen to be alternating when we were doing the other leg, just keep alternating. Now again, whenever that right foot comes to the ground, you're going to pause for a moment, check in with your breath. We're going to take the hands onto the legs. Inhale, body up, exhale, come into that forward bend. Let your knees be soft if that feels better. And again, you can move side to side or just stay in your forward bend. And then on an inhale, let's come all the way up. This is where we're going to use that block, possibly. So, you're going to keep that block to the outside of your right foot. Then we'll inhale up, exhale, we're going to come down towards the ground and step back into a lunge. And then we're going to walk the block forward, maybe 4 to 8 inches, whatever feels good. Your left hand's going to go onto your hip. We're going to press down with the left foot and lift that leg up. And then possibly open the hips and shoulders. You want to flex that back foot so that your muscles are engaged. And some of you may take that left arm up towards the sky. Your head is in whatever position feels most comfortable for you. And then we'll take the hand back to the hip, close the hips and shoulders, come back into our lunge. We're going to take both hands to the ground, step back with your right foot into our plank. You could have your knees on the ground, and you're going to come back into a child's pose or a down dog. And then, on an inhale, we're going to come forward, walk your feet into your forward bend. And then we're going to put the block on the opposite side. Inhale, come on all the way up. I just want to check in. How's everybody doing so far? Pretty good? Okay. I just go along with the head shakes, and then I figure it's okay. So, all right, so block is on the outside of your left foot. So this is called half moon ardha candrasana. For some of you, it might be a newer pose. For some of you, you might be used to it. But one of the things that I find most challenging in a lot of people is when we open the hip up in that position, because there's this muscle and this fascia on the outside of your hip that for some people is not used in this way, and so you might notice that. And so if that happens, just don't open up your hips so wide. You can also lean up against a wall with the whole side of your body, so it can be a nice support. Okay, here we go. Let's inhale up, exhale into our forward bend. Take your hand onto the block as we step back into our lunge. Right hand comes up onto that hip. You're going to walk that block out to whatever position feels good to you. We're going to press with the right toes. Lift up your leg. Open up possibly those hips and shoulders. Flex that back foot. And then possibly take your right arm up towards the sky. Find a comfortable position for your head. Keep breathing. Whenever you start to feel complete, hand onto the hip, close the hips and shoulders, come down into your lunge. And this time we're going to step back and gently place your knees on the ground. Again, if you'd like a blanket while you're here, go ahead and take a moment to set one under your knees. And we're going to come forward, drop your hips towards the ground, soften your shoulders away from your ears. And then exhale back into an extended child's pose. So just moving with your breath, coming forward and back. If you don't like going forward, you could do tabletop and child's pose. Remember that you're always figuring out what positions work for your body, not forcing yourself to fit into what I say. And then next time you come into your child's pose, you might stay there for a moment. You might wrap your arms around your legs. And if you're not comfortable being on your knees, you could be on your back with your knees towards your chest. So either your arms are wrapped around or maybe they're in front with your head resting on your arms. And just take a couple of breaths. And then you can carefully roll over to your side and extend your legs out in front. So I'm going to show you a modified fish pose, right, Matsyasana. And there are a ton of ways to do this pose, right? So I'm going to show you one that I like, but I'm also going to tell you the others, okay? So in this one, you have the furthest block away higher than the other one, right? And you don't want this one really low and this one really high, because then your head's going to be in a wonky position. But you could also have this one here and this one here, right? So you just want the back one higher. And then, and this is probably the most challenging part with this pose, is to get the blocks in the right position so they're not pokey, right? And you're going to take that bottom block, it goes to the base of your rib cage, and then the head goes on the other one. All right, so this is one possibility. And I'm going to come right up because I could stay there if I did. Now, another option is to put your blanket over these blocks so that it's a little bit more padded. Another option is to use a bolster. So you have the block and you have the bolster here. Same position, that one's less invasive. And then you're going to just breathe and allow your body to soften. This is a gentle way to open up the heart center. And if it's pokey, then you're going to put the bolster the long way. Nope, that part. I'm gonna come over there and do. So, stay right there, over there. I'm gonna put this, that, so now. Good? Okay. Now, of course, like with everything that we do, if it feels uncomfortable, you're gonna take yourself out of it, right? And then as you're softening here, you're deciding, you know, are your legs long, knees bent, legs crossed? What feels good? Maybe softening and closing your eyes, relaxing your jaw. Now, some of you might want to stay here longer than others. When you are ready to come up, I want you to use your hands and your forearms to lift yourself straight up so that you're not twisting when you're in this arched position in your back. So you're gonna come straight up. And then from here, you're gonna ask yourself, does your body need to do anything else? And then you're gonna get yourself set up in Shavasana, right? Some of you may want to take a little forward bend after you come up off of the blocks or the bolster, whatever you are on. And because it is freezing, literally, outside, you may want to put on sweatshirts or socks or whatever you have with you, or even cover yourself up with a blanket while you're in Shavasana. So, first thing, ask your body, does it need anything else? And if it does, go ahead and do that. And if you are ready to get into Shavasana, you're going to do that. Sharira Shicha Vajikena Yopakarutam Prabharam Muninam Patanjalim Pranjali Anatosmi Bahu Purushakaram Shankachakrasi Dharinam Sahasra Shirsham Svetam Pranamami Patanjalim Srimate Hanantaya Nagarajaya Namo Namaha. So, starting to notice sensation in your body, noticing where your mind is at, and possibly remembering how you wanted to feel when we were done with practice today. And then when you're ready, if you're ready, making those slow, thoughtful movements and eventually coming into a seated position. And today I thought we would work with a krama breathing where what you do, krama means step, and so we're going to take little snippets of inhales, and then your exhale will be free. But because we all have different lung capacities, you're going to decide what that looks like for you. So you inhale a little bit, you pause, inhale a little bit more, pause, possibly inhale a little bit more, pause, and then exhale. Some of you might do 2, some of you might do 3 little snippets, or not the right word, little inhales in, okay? And we'll just try that a couple of times and see how it feels. So inhale, pause, and you want to get a full in-breath, so make sure you're breathing in to full capacity on your last little breath in, and then exhale completely, and then do it again. Inhale, pause, inhale, pause, inhale, pause, and exhale. We're going to do it 3 more times at your own pace. If it makes you at all agitated, you're just going to breathe naturally. So after your next exhale, allowing your breath to go back to its natural pace and place and rhythm. And then for just a moment, I want you to imagine that with your mind's eye, you can look from the inside out to the center of your forehead. And some of you might take your actual eyes and look towards that place, but I want you to think about taking your vision into that place, and what would it be like to connect with your innate wisdom in all things that you have to do today and every day. And taking that inside vision and bringing it to the base of your rib cage, to your diaphragm. And I know that might sound strange, looking from the inside of your head down to your diaphragm, but I want you to connect with that part of your body, your, I don't like the word willpower, but your personal power, your power to get stuff done. Just imagining, and some of you may do this all of the time anyway, that you're using your innate wisdom combined with your personal power to do what it is in this world that each of us is meant to do. So kind of bridging the gap between those two places. Imagine like this flow from wisdom to power. And though we could sit with this for quite some time, I'm going to invite you to come back to the room, but thinking about that wisdom and power staying with you if you choose throughout the day. And so I'd like to thank all of you in person and online for being here, and I thank all of my teachers past and present, and acknowledge the lands that I live and work on. And if you'd like to join me in making the sound Om together, taking a nice big inhale. Om.